Magnavox presents Odyssey.
Introducing Apple II.
You sure want everything? I want everything.
Fantastic! This Nokia Mobera portable cellular phone.
Commodore computers.
We are Nintendo.
We shall prevail.
It was some weird times. Disco was going out of style. Communist threat on the horizon.
Tear down this wall.
The safety dance was taking the world by storm. Wall Street was cocaine driven.
Reagan was shot by a crazy man who was a fan of Jodie Foster.
With many different opinions on what it was about, most agree 77 to 84 was a technological boom that still affects us today.
Arguably some good games, but also some of them were kind of crappy.
What I remember of them, I liked. I mean, the 80s, I was going through, adolescence, so it wasn't necessarily the greatest time on Earth. But now I look back, especially in the late 70s, and realize that that's the era that intensely affected me, intensely influenced me.
Magnavox presents Odyssey, the electronic game of the future. Odyssey easily attaches to any brand TV, black and white or color, to create a closed-circuit electronic playground. Odyssey gives you all the exciting action of hockey and 11 other challenging play and learning games for the entire family. Odyssey, a new dimension for your television, now at your Magnavox dealer. He's listed in the yellow pages.
The Odyssey was a good system. It was high tech for the time, and it was a lot of fun for being one of the first game systems.
Heard of it, wanted one, didn't have it.
From high technology, the computer store. Introducing Apple II, the easy-to-operate home computer. Just hook it up to your TV to create dazzling color displays. Or you can balance your checkbook. Kids can teach themselves arithmetic. Or the family can invent their own Pong games. The possibilities are endless. It's called Apple II, the personal computer. See it at High Technology, the computer store.
Interested in it because of Basica and figuring out how to program in Basica and working with an Apple IIe. I never really thought of it as a game system or as kind of a gaming computer, because that's what the Atari and the Commodore 64 and the television were all about.
Yeah, no, I mean, somewhere around the time that I entered into college, the only time I was using computers to do like reports and stuff like that, I really wasn't well versed in computers until after I was out of college. I know more about them now over the last 10 years, or 5 years especially, than I ever did when I was younger, you guys' age.
I'd like an Atari 2600 system, please, and everything that goes with it. Everything? You sure want everything? I want everything. Now you're getting your low price, up to $30 in rebate offers, and a free pack. Is that everything? It's not everything. You can get nearly 300 different cartridges. 300? That's nothing. It's something, but it's not everything. Soon there'll be a voice module, trackball, remote control joysticks, and a computer keyboard. It's amazing. It's amazing, but it's not everything. It's not everything. Soon there'll be educational games, too. Is that everything? That's everything. For now. For now? The Atari 2600.
Well, of course. And I had it when it first came out. Was excited about it for many years, and then lost my interest in it, and then a couple of years ago, the class chipped in and bought me a new Atari 2600 with probably 25, 30 games.
I always had to go to people's friends' house, so that's what we did, like a gang of us. We would go find out who had what console, and then go play their games. So it would be like going to somebody's house that had an Odyssey, somebody had Activision, we ever had like in television or something like that, then we go play their games, and then based off what what was going on or whose house we were close by.
I'm not really an Atari fan, but Pitfall, it happens to be one of the best games I ever played.
My friends and I had like we ride bikes all over the place, and I grew up in a small town, so we would ride bikes to people's houses from here to there, depending on what kind of games that they had.
This is the system chosen 2-to-1 over Atari and Intellivision for real arcade gameplay.
Fantastic!
Presenting the revolutionary Vectrex arcade system. Ordinary home video games can't match the laser-sharp visual effects of Vectrex, because only Vectrex has a real arcade screen built in. No TV set needed, so every Vectrex cartridge gives you real arcade gameplay that others can't. Vectrex, it stands alone.
Well, that's interesting. I never played it, but I hear it's a lot of crap. But I guess some people could find it fun.
Is that the standalone video?
It's the one that came with a cathode ray tube inside.
Yeah.
And it had vector graphics.
Yeah, I mean, at the time, I thought those vector graphics was very much like that first Star Wars arcade game. And I love that Star Wars arcade game, so anything that had that level of pixels was like asteroids.
Well, it wasn't pixels.
I mean, yeah, it was like, how would you describe it?
Well, you know how an electron tube shoots electrons at a screen, and it shoots at individual pixels.
Right.
Well, instead of having individual pixels, it's one big phosphorus screen.
Oh yeah, I just love that style of video game animation. I always thought it was little detailed. I mean, it was kind of stick figure style drawing, but when something exploded, the detail of the movement of those pieces and stuff.
Like Battlezone?
Yeah. We had to keep those things in. You had to run that.
Well, no. Battlezone was the tank game.
Oh, which was the one where you had to move?
Tempest.
Yeah, that was it. But anyways, again, never owned the system, but always kind of. I always wanted one of those for myself.
2 more great reasons to come to Highland Superstores by Saturday. 1. This Nokia Mobera portable cellular phone is just $5.95. 2. You can impress your friends by telling them it costs a lot more.
Here I got a cell phone. It was 1997, 98. And I didn't get a cell phone until I lived out here in California. So somewhere around 1997 or 8. Yeah, I mean, I've seen them like, the phones from like, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, they're huge. But at the time that I was holding, they weren't in use. So I never actually owned one of those bricks on my own.
Some people buy an IBM personal computer to manage their finances. But after spending $1,355, what finances are left to manage? Others think one of those tiny computers will do. Fine for storing a few phone numbers and recipes for Nestle Road pie. There's a choice between spending too much or getting too little computer. The Commodore 64 gives you as much memory as the IBM at less than half the cost. Commodore computers, in more homes than any other home computer.
Owner, he is a Commodore 64? No. My first real console system was the Super NES.
We are Nintendo Ultimate TV Game System. Aim your zapper gun. You cannot beat us, even with your robot partner. You cannot beat us. Discover new worlds. You cannot beat us. We are Nintendo. We challenge all players. You cannot beat us.
One of my favorite games is on it, and almost every game on it is really fun.
I never owned my own Nintendo. I'll tell you about my experience with Nintendo. I never owned one particularly, but you know, 2 or 3 of my friends when I was young had them, and we used to go over my buddy's house and have like tournaments. Baseball, we used to play a lot of the sports games initially, so we used to have tournaments with the Nintendo baseball.
Today we celebrate the first glorious anniversary of the information purification methods. For the first time in all history, a garden of pure ideology, where each worker may bloom, secure from the pests of any contradictory force. Unification of force is more powerful a weapon than any fleet or army on earth. We are one people, with one will, one resolve, one cause. Our enemies shall talk themselves to death, and we will bury them with their own culture. We shall prevail.
On January 24th, Apple Computer will introduce Macintosh. And you'll see why 1984 won't be like 1984.
I had used it before. I never owned my own. I mean, as much as computers have been a part of our lives over the last 20 years, I have personally owned only 2. One was a PC, and now I currently own a MacBook Pro. But I didn't own any computers all throughout the 80s or the 90s. But I did, you know, do some word processing on the Mac at my college. And, you know, a couple other places.
How about the original Macintosh?
Not many games for it, but still, it was cool to have at least some graphics on it.